advice and insights on on this topic.
So, thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Bhagpati. Uh, you know, when it comes to startups and their relationship with investors, it's a very, very complicated situation. It's not a very easy situation because every startup has their own challenges. Every startup and the domain that they are in have different, challenges for them. So it's a very complicated situation. But still, I'll try and sum up some generic thoughts and in about 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then we will try and reach out to specific questions that might work. Is that okay, Abhishek?
Yes, sir, it will work.
Yeah. So obviously, Bhubaneswar and Orissa has always been very close to my heart. I've been there a few times, attended a few events, visited a few colleges there, and I think the government of Orissa is doing a great job in terms of promoting entrepreneurship, promoting startups, and creating an environment which works for everyone. I personally feel that. Cities like Bhubaneswar, Raipur, Nagpur, Bhopal, Surat, Vadodara, all these tier two cities which have not reached the threshold or the benchmark of what Bangalore and Delhi or Pune or Mumbai and now of late Chandigarh, Jaipur, and other cities have developed. I think you're right at a situation where you're about to break through into the national and global scene with angel rounds and seed rounds and funding. So don't be disheartened if your applications and emails to various investors across the board go unanswered or don't come up very positively because it's just the stage. We are when you run a relay race, the person who's handing over the baton has to run as fast as the person who's taking it over. So the angel investment is something like a relay race. You have to be at pace with where the angel investment scene in India is working, and you're just about getting there and accelerating to a point where you will reach there. That's one. So don't take anything personally. You're on the right track. The startup ecosystem in India, it has a great potential. Valuations, investments have now come to a level which is more realistic and workable. So going forward, if you have a good idea, if you have a great team, and if you have the right product market fit, you will eventually get funding in the next few months or a year. That's one thing. Secondly, I just used quite a few terms, and I'm sure you're all aware of these terms, but I'll quickly go over these terms. The first and the foremost thing is your idea, your problem, your team. I've many a times I've seen that teams are great, ideas are great, but something or the other is missing. You have to understand that when you identify a problem, when you identify the right team to solve that problem, which has technology into it, which has the right marketing and branding, which has the right go-to-market strategy in it, which has the right kind of win-win solution for the service provider and the consumer, and if there's a third party involved, it has to work all three ways. So all of that is very, very critical. What I find it difficult is when you cannot get someone locally to accept and use your technology. What I find difficult is when you can't find customers who would pay you. When what I find difficult, because then that means that the service or the product that you are selling or providing is not value for the same amount of money. If you have a freemium model and you have traction, it's okay to test technology. It's okay to test product and service. But eventually, the proof lies in people wanting to pay revenue, in people wanting to go and add more and more people every month on month, and your scaling up is very, very critical. So while you're fundraising, your growth parameters, your revenue, both your growth in both in numbers and revenue has to continue to increase. If it becomes stagnant because you don't have money, money will not come in. You have to understand that money only comes into to teams or startups that are growing, that have the potential to grow, but they don't have the bandwidth or the money or the to scale up beyond a point. So you are about to stagnate at 6 months or 9 months. That's when you should start to raise money. It should not be when you've stagnated you start to raise money, because then it doesn't work. Because then they say, why are you flat out? Maybe the team is not the right team. So all these doubts creep in. So your money raising should start from post revenue and post growth, and growth month on month or week on week or day on day. That's something very, very critical for you to understand. Secondly, I think you should have, I mean, what I've lately seen is I see two co-founders. I don't see the right team. And it doesn't mean that the four co-founders have to have equal equity. It can be, more equity to someone and less equity to the others. It doesn't really matter. But so long as everyone has a skin in the game, so long as I, as an investor, feel that all of you collectively will take this company or steer this company through, that is the most important thing. So problem identification, finding the solution which is tech enabled, which has a potential to grow, which has a potential to make money, all that is great. But you have to have a team that is fully rounded off to deliver that, fully rounded off for it to grow to a certain stage, before which you will have to raise money. So that combination and permutation is very, very critical. And I think that is something that I've seen many a times amiss. Now you will see many times you're working on an idea or a project or a solution which other people are doing it better. Countries outside of startups outside of India are doing it better. So you have to really understand that when there is something that is already in the market and you are trying to do it better, or you have a cheaper, or you have a faster growth, or an easier to use, or a better UI UX kind of a model, you really have to have a lot of knowledge of your competition. You really need to answer all the questions that investors need to ask. Also, the clear differentiator between what you are doing is very critical. I mean, I've seen many startups who are saying that we have competition, but we are different. That differentiation is where you should be focusing on. That is what you should be talking more about. What others are doing and others can do, we as angels already know, and that doesn't really matter. So that is also very, 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 very critical and very, very important. So you have to understand that if you are not in a sector that doesn't have competition, or you really have to look at the competition. You really have to have answers on what is better with you as far as competition is concerned. And that's something where I've seen great ideas, great teams get stuck because they're not able to put a use case where the competition and competitions many a times have been funded. They've had pre-series A or series A. So we as investors, we get, why go there where someone has already gone? They already have funding. They're far ahead of us. So you have to understand that we as investors don't really like too much of uh, competition, or someone having a someone who's very far ahead because they have been funded and they have reached where they have reached. So that's the other challenge that I have seen on startups. um, Lastly, I personally feel that getting money is very, very critical. Valuations have to be realistic. uh, Fundraising has to be very, very realistic. You have to understand that many a times consultants, advisors tell you that your valuation should be 5 crores, and an angel investor will say your valuation should be 3 crores. Now, there's no formula, there is no mathematics behind valuation. Valuation depends on many, many things. Valuation depends on sectors that you are in, competition that you have, the domains that you're in. So all that is very, 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 very integral to the valuation. So it's very critical that your fundraise and your valuation really match. If they don't match, then excuse me, if your valuations and fundraise doesn't match, you will always, despite having everything right, you will be at odds with investors because you are not able to convince them on the valuation. So your ask and your cash flow and your money, your goal roadmap for 18 months should be crystal clear in your mind. You should know what you need for 18 months. You should know what the money that you need. You should know what's the revenue, and then the net money that you need with a buffer, and your roadmap of how many people you will hire, where will you go, what will you spend on the markets. Everything has to be very, very clear and very, very crystal. Once you know that you need 50 lakhs or 1 crore or whatever the amount may be, then obviously at this stage, when you're post incubation, post accelerator, you should not be giving more than 8 to 10%. Now, is your valuation 10x of what you need, or it is not? So that becomes a very, very difficult situation, because let's say if you need 50 lakhs and your valuation is not 5 crores and it's 3 crores, I would not advise giving more equity to investors at this stage. But the investors will not give you more valuation. So the catch 22 here is there are multiple ways that you can look at it. Either you lower your raise and you bring down the 18 months to 12 months, or you pivot a little bit and you say you will not do this for now and you will do this only for 18 months and grow in this sector, and then this, if the second round of funding happens, you will try and do that, and you bring that 50 lakhs to 30 lakhs, 35 lakhs, 25 lakhs, or whatever. Or you do an interim round and then you say, fine, we'll do this round for 12 months, and then we will have a much higher valuation than 6-7 crores, because we will achieve a lot more. And that's when, so you have to do a lots of permutations and calculations when it comes to funding. So all that does become very, very important from your point of view, from having a product, from an idea, to have a good team, to scale up, to have clarity on cash flows, to have revenues, to have paying customers, to have month-on-month growth, consistent growth, and reasons. If your business is seasonal, we understand, but if it's not seasonal, why is it's not growing? So all those sectors and parameters is something that you have to understand, and that is where you really have to work with investors, work with incubators, work with mentors, work with advisors, so that they can put you on the right track and tell you when you are ready for money. And the most important thing is, whose money are you ready for? So if you are ready at an early stage, idea stage, just POC, beyond POC, there's a different angel investor who looks at that. If you're post revenue, you're growing month on month, it's a different angel investor. So you have to do a lot of research and study on the angel investor that you are looking at. All that is very, very critical. So you have to measure your startup, you have to measure the money that you need, you have to understand the valuation and why the valuation, and then you have to match make yourselves with the right an angel investor that will bring you value, who's active in the industry. Follow on rounds with him or her being will be important. All these very, very little things are very, very critical. I understand when money is money, whether it comes from X or Y, and even if X is active and has a better network, but if he's not willing to pay the valuation, is there a compromise that you can take excess money at a lower valuation or no? Or whether money is money and Y is better and you can do it without X, all that is fine. But that decision of who to get the money from, how much to get, what valuation, all of that is very, very critical. And I've seen startups, great teams, great people, great ability to grow their startups and do everything, but not succeed when it comes to valuations, not succeed when it comes to marketing and branding, not succeed when it comes to customer satisfaction post acquisition of customers, and they don't succeed in finding the right angel investment or getting the follow-on round. So you really have to be a very, very comprehensive unit. You really have to continue to work with the right people, right group of network people, and also advisors and mentors, and as a team, be able to reach out to people. And that's what I think, as a journey of a startup, is what you need to grow from. And that's where I would just close my opening remarks to a very generic process and challenges that I have seen, and prefer to answer specific questions that anyone might have.
Thanks for your valuable suggestions and insights on the topic. And now will the forum is open for question and answer. So so who wants to go first? Yes, please go ahead. Yes, Sitanshu, please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. I don't know whether you remember or not, but I met you 2 years back at a conference organized by TAI Bhubaneswar in Boca Cafe, Master Canton Square.
And
And
you, and you were
that
doing
was,
what, Stanshu? Sorry, I'm sorry.
uh, I was just a participant over there.
Okay.
And we had organized that event for, and you were one of the speakers over there. And it was a really an amazing moment for me to meet you in person. In fact, sir, my question is whatever insights you gave me 2 years back, it was really an eye opener for me. And in those days, I used to think that we don't have any competition at all. And in fact, after that, I'm working in the field of edutech. I'm the founder of Job School, and Job School is into bridging the gap between industry academia. So, you told me that Byju's and others, stakeholders could not be your direct competition. And you gave me a couple of other insightful things, and we had a one-on-one discussion also. And, sir, my current question is, at one end, we are competing with giants like Vedantu, an academy at one end, and other end, we are also competing with, Indeed, Internshala, Naukri, and Monsters. So as we are preparing a pool of colleges, universities, so that we can cater and we can provide our services to them, and we can prepare the skill pool for the, for the companies that we are providing our service. So likewise, my question is, how would you see our startup to be competing with the giants, whatever I mentioned just now, and how would we make a difference to that?
So not easy, very difficult. I don't know a lot of details in terms of how much are you charging. Is it free service that you're providing? Is the employer or the college paying you or the student paying you? And everyone else's model is also different, from Naukri and an academy to whatnot. So I personally feel that. Um, all these people, the only thing that I can tell you, when you try to enter a domain which is loaded with giants who are funded, who've been around for 10, 15, 20 years, is that you have to find a totally different user experience for your people. And I'll give you a very, very simple example. All these big giants have too much happening. If you did something that they are not doing, and if it's an added value to them, they could do it instantly. But if you did something that is contrary to what they are doing, you will suddenly see that they will not be able to uh, change themselves. So you can't have an academy change. So I'll give you an example. I mean, like the edutech, fintech is a very, very complicated, very competitive field. All banks are there, Paytm, uh, POS, Google Pay, Phone Pay. Name the largest people in the world. They are invested in Indian fintech. So, but I recently invested in a couple of years ago in a fintech in India, which is doing similar stuff. But the only difference that this fintech is doing is, while all these large payment gateways are trying to compete with banks and acquire or become banks eventually, like Paytms and stuff, this company said they will work in partnership with banks, and not with the ICICIs and HDFCs of the world, but with the thousands of cooperative banks who are not technology ready, cooperative bank consumers or customers who are not on selling online. So what they did was, they went to mid and small sector banks. They said, we will provide your customers a fully online plug and play model. They will have a website, they will have an HR tool, they will have an accounting tool, and also we will give them a single QR code which they will put, which is white labeled with your bank and your consumer on the point of sale, and the consumer can scan that QR code and say, I want to pay by Paytm, debit card, credit card, Google Pay, Phone Pay, whatever. So, and they did not go and acquire a single customer. They did not want to, because everyone else was advertising full page ads in paper and hoardings and, download Paytm or open a Paytm account group. They said no, they don't want consumers, because they don't want to be on the consumer's phone. It's so difficult to be there and stay there. So they just empowered the banks who were not digitally savvy enough or did not have the money or the bandwidth to compete with all the other banks who have their own apps, to create a pool of huge micro and small consumers who had relationship with these banks locally in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities. And they have now over 100,000 retailers. They have a GMV of 100 crores per month, and they are growing 10% month on month. So what I'm and they're getting, and all these cooperative banks pay them 0.10 paisa for every transaction that happens on their platform, because they have enabled their retailers. And this is where I what they wanted to do then, they're still doing it, and they're growing every year, every month. So what I'm trying to say is, despite being in a field which is heavily funded, but because none of these fintech companies could do what they were doing, they could not partner with a bank. If Paytm went and partnered with one bank, the other bank will say, "Why are you partnering with them?" This These people were under the radar. So what you need to probably do is partner with colleges. You need to empower schools and colleges which are not IITs and IIMs or nationally recognized, smaller, medium, private. You have to make them ready on technology. And I don't know if that works for your app or not, but and I know it's a very long answer to a short question. But I think you have to work where these people cannot get to. You have to reach out to areas or provide services where unacademies of the world or Naukri.coms cannot reach out to, because they find it, the cost of customer acquisition or retention, very, very expensive. And that's my answer to your question. I hope it helps.
So absolutely, sir. It is really, sir, insightful. And sir, to add on to that, I have a follow-up question, if I'm permitted. Sir, in fact, sir, whatever you said, in fact, we are targeting only the tier 2, tier 3 cities as well as the rural market, and it's very difficult for those giants to penetrate so easily. In fact, apart from that, we are also having a niche. I can tell you that if we talk about an academy or Vedantu, if they are into skilling, they are only into skilling. And at the other end, if we talk about the other players, as I mentioned, Init and Intanshala, if they're into like manpower services, they're only into that. But what we are doing is we are trying to bridge the gap under a single platform. So, so could that bring a difference, or can that act as a uniqueness or the USP for our organization, and we can sell through?
Sir, sir, sir,
So you're
you're muted.
Sorry. It is possible, but my problem is that I would have quite a few follow-on questions. What are others doing? What are you doing? And maybe you can write me an email. I would look into it. We will do maybe a quick 20 minutes or 30 minutes call one-on-one, and I'll try and answer that, because I will have many questions before I can answer that, whether that would work or not. And the best thing is, if it is working, it's obviously working. But if you're finding challenges, there must be something that you need to twist or change. So I hope that helps, and we can connect one-on-one later.
Definitely, sir. I would love to meet you once again one on one, and as per your advice, I will definitely to you.
Drop
And
me an
thanks for
email
your
and we'll
valuable
we'll
insights.
chat. Sure. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Satyanarayan, you can go ahead.
Hello. Hi, sir. Satya, this side from Groom.
Hi, Satya.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, we are working in the grooming industry, unorganized salon market, which is accountable to 97% of the total salon industry. Am I
Sir,
audible?
Yeah,
echo from your end.
Are you broke in the middle?
We are working into the grooming industry,
Uh,
that too in the unorganized salon industry, which
mhm.
is accountable to 97% of the total salon industry. So we are working in the segment of unorganized salons. So what we do is we partner with existing standalone salons. We empower them with technology. We define their SOPs and make it organized with technology.
doing that, Satya. I mean, I think from Urban Ladder to Dial, whatever, everyone is doing that.
No,
That's
no, no, sir. No, sir. So it's a quite different model.
what is it? What? Tell me the
So
difference. That's
we
I
are
said earlier
integrating
on.
tech.
Tell me clearly how are you different from the competition?
Yes. So we are integrating technology. We are giving them end-to-end solution like invoicing and everything, and also augmented reality that we use enable the customer to see how he or she will look like before getting a styling done.
So that's just a tool that you can sell to. Why do you have to put them online?
So because we are creating a chain of salons by partnering with the existing salons, so that whatever the business goes from our side, 20% of the revenue is being served to us.
No, no, I understand that, and I understand that model very well. And it's not just salons. It's many people are trying to upsell whatever any offline store is doing and saying that whatever we bring, you share. It's Satya. It's not an easy model to scale up. It's not easy to sign up. And most challenging out of all of these things is that I meet you online first, and then I exchange my number with you, or I come and visit your store, and there goes your 20%. So the challenge, you have to plug the loopholes in this model because it does not sustain for very long, and I personally feel that it might not work.
Okay. So what are the challenges that you
बता दिया,
think
your
like?
customers will not continue. They will see X salon, Y salon, Z salon, and they like Y, and they will create a relationship with Y and take a 20% discount and work with them directly. They will not
But
leave.
they will be not able to access the tool without our consent, right?
So how many times have you changed your hairstyle in your last 10 years?
So almost every time I go for a new one.
No, you don't have a ponytail this month, and then you will have a crew cut in 3 months. You basically know what you look good like, what your wife, your girlfriend, your brother, your sister tells you. No one needs an AR for what he or she will look like unless I have committed a murder and I want to do plastic surgery and go. It is not rocket science. बाल कम कट गए तो अगली बार बढ़ा लूंगा. It's in the sense that it is not an essential tool. It's an optional tool. That's why
Yes.
I'm trying to tell you is that it's something that is not critical for me to use or to acquire.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
Next, please.
ThinkRaw India Private Limited. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah. So we are Thinkra India Private Limited. We are a solar EPC company. I hope I'm not going.
You are a solar, sorry?
Sir, we are a solar EPC company. And sir, during COVID, being into solar, we have been trying to integrate the rural and tribal base of India with solar power. So while working with the farmers at the ground level, fish and agriculture sector exactly we have been working with predominantly. So we have developed a solar power IoT enabled floating device that caters to the three major aspects of fish and prawn farming sector. It does a uniform fish rod prawn feed dispensing along the length and breadth of the water body. Second, it does the aeration process on its own automatically because it's IoT enabled and solar powered.
Satya, can
Because
you mute
aeration
your...
process
Hang on. Satya, can you mute yourselves, please? Satya, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, sir. So should I repeat or should
No,
I
I understand. So do you have the IoT device ready?
Sir, yeah, sir. We have been working but telling you honestly, we are still integrating this IoT. This remote control movement of this floating device is happening along the length and breadth. But this IoT integration exactly is still under the process.
Okay,
We have
and
done the prototyping.
how big is the market and what are they currently doing?
Sir, the market is quite huge. Even once we exhibited this product in this MSME trade fair of Odisha, we have got a person is speaking to us about an order for more than 100 numbers. So the numbers are huge, but we are still in the validation process.
What are they
with
doing
CIFA.
currently? What are they doing currently?
Sir, we are still currently, sir, we are
Not
doing
you,
the
not
validation
you,
with
not
CIFA.
you. Fishery, farmers.
With,
Fishery.
Sir, the fishery farmers, like for feed dispensing, sir, it's a very it's a very traditional way, sir. They are putting this fish feed in gunny bags, and they are putting some bamboo sticks across one side of the water body, and they just hang these gunny bags from these bamboo sticks and having some holes at the base, so that this fish will come and pluck it off. This gunny bags.
And
So
they
it's a
will
very
get.
traditional process, and
And
yes, sir.
how will you be different?
Sir, ours is a device, sir, that will be uniformly. It will dispense this fish feed across the length and breadth. It will keep on moving and it will keep on dispensing so that uniformly feed can be distributed. Sir, when we have spoken to all the fish and prawn farmers, almost at 50 farmers we have already spoken to, and they all have agreed upon this concept that yes, you are right. Because of this non-uniform, the growth is being hampered.
No, fair enough. So if your product is acceptable to the market and you will sell them will it be a one-time sale or will it be on a month?
Sir, yeah, sir. Hello. Hello. Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. It would be like so, sir. We have grabbing both the markets, sir. Basically, the farmers who are having more than 10 acres, who are these people who can invest one time, sir, who can buy it out, and also the small and marginal farmers would be taking it up as per custom hiring centers. So both the ways, sir, and services are also there. And it's an integrated device, and basically it caters to three aspects: pH measurement scale, aeration, and fish feed dispensing. So sir, it can be also customizable.
I think just a minute, Mr. Sharma will join again. Just a minute.
Okay, I'm there. Yeah,
please go ahead.
Sorry. So my internet died. So I'll tell you, it's a good idea.
Yes.
It's a good product.
Yes.
It can work.
Thank you, sir.
Get the product ready.
Sure, sir.
And I'm sure you're eligible for quite a few animal and husbandry grants also. Don't go for fundraising right now. I think
Yes.
and you will have people who will pay you for it. And so whether it's the state of Orissa or the central government, look for while you're doing all this product development, go to METI, go to Ministry of Animal and Husbandry or whatever the ministries are and fisheries, and try and see if there are grants available, because this can probably work. I'm not seeing the product, but what you're telling me, if this is what is true, it is good.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you very much, sir. We are applying for each and every application that is coming our way. Each and every grant we are applying, but we are yet to approach any investor.
Don't approach an investor. Grant is a validation, whether it's 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs.
Yes.
It's a validation for an investor that someone has validated the product. So it's always good to take a grant for now, in my opinion.
Sure, sir. Sir, Selco Foundation is, sir, they have believed in this product, so they will be issuing us some grant money.
Good.
Apart from it, STP Bhubaneswar is also grant.
Many, all the best.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would like to have a one-to-one discussion with you, sir.
You please email me the project. Abhishek, share my email ID. I'll be happy to help. Sure, no problem.
Great, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
One life. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Saman Patra, and I'm the CEO of One Life. So we are into mental health care and wellness. And so my question to you is, since last 1.5 years, we have been into offline model wherein we used to do face-to-face counseling. So right now, after the pandemic have hit, we have started the online model wherein we are providing services, counseling services in Pan India. And presently, we are planning to expand it to worldwide level. And we want to know what all measures we should keep in mind before we enter the international market.
So legal liabilities, I don't know how that works. Do you have advisors who are qualified?
Yes.
Is there a disclaimer? Because when sessions happen one-on-one, is the liability with you as a platform provider or not? Every country has a different law. India has different laws, and you have to be very, very careful. I think local language, local understanding of cultures is very, very critical, because if an Indian family discuss their personal problems with someone living in um, Brazil, they would not comprehend or understand. How can you not say this to your brother or husband or wife? So it's very, very critical that you have local people, language, legalities, and local laws. I don't know why you want to go outside of India. India itself is a huge market, and I would go to neighboring countries or other countries which has a similar kind of a mindset. Go to UK, whatever. I don't know your reasons for expansion, but I think those are the 3-4 things that I can think of from the top of my head that you probably need.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Arnav, you can go ahead.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Actually, I'm the co-founder of AVP.
Your volume is very low.
Hello.
Better now.
So, sir, I'm Ariel Fields. Actually, my company designs and develops online systems and enterprise applications. We actually focus on IT solutions, business intelligence, big data, analytics, and informative systems.
Arnav, there is an echo, and your voice is breaking. I don't know if I'm the only one or everyone else is not. I'm not able to understand what you are saying.
Sir, let me correct.
You go off and come back again. Abhishek, am I the only one, or you're also feeling the same thing?
No, I'm properly hearing you, sir.
Okay, so you log off and log in again, please.
So actually, when you keep it mute, it's audible to everybody. Yeah, Arnav, please try.
Oh, hello. Right now,
yeah.
audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, sir. Actually, my company is that is Ariel Bees. We probably focus on designs, develop the unmanned aerial systems and platforms for enterprise solutions. So we actually focuses on IT solutions, business intelligence, big data analytics, and geographical information systems and engineering. Actually, we have a product that is product which is basically a fixed wing. We probably give solutions like solutions for GIS survey and analyze. We cater this job under the GIS survey and analysis wing. So we are basically the product focuses on progress monitoring, topographic survey, mine survey, and DPR survey. We are actually starting a platform that is a cloud system, so that each and everyone from our
question क्या है? समझ गया मैं. Question क्या है?
Sir, actually, I'm pitching my deck. So in case the investor will be able to give a support to me, so that's the thing I want to know, sir.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and this is my understanding of the sector and domain that you're in.
Yeah.
This is a B2B or B2 enterprise kind of a model. You have disrupted the market, which took 30 days, 45 days to a few days. You are doing it online. You are much cheaper, but there's a lot of profit margin. The only if you let's say if Tata's or L&T or mining companies partnered with you, you don't need money. I mean, I understand that the profit margin is so huge once you have done all this back-end technology. The biggest question that I would have to this sector is that when you are so good in what you're doing and you're saving man hours, why would you need money?
So basically, sir, actually the platform is all about creating a cloud computing system. We rather focus on selling the product as well as gathering more number of data from different sectors or segments. Like in mines, we have n number of private mines as well as public sectors. So where we can approach them one-to-one and have their data on our own platform. So that will be a huge base of data in future. So for that problem, I want to ask for a funding.
How much does a data center cost? How much data, the cloud space do you need?
Sir, actually, the cloud, it doesn't depend upon, means that there is no particular specific, because once the data is acquired from a mines or from a government or the private sector, then there will be n number of images that will be stored in our platform. So that is not specific in that manner.
So you can compress the data. There is data compression tools that are available without compromising with the quality. See, you have to understand that I do, as an investor, give you money on revenues that are that you are getting month on month. If I give you monies on storing data to be used later for analytics and storage space, it is not the model that investors want to look at. If you were saying you were building a technology, I would understand. But there are search for it. I think I have invested in a company that compresses data without compromising the quality. You should be able to find some innovative solutions, Arnav. Now, I don't think money will come your way because of this or for this.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, the money doesn't come in between, but in the initial stage, while we are selling the fixed wings, so it will cost around 12 to 15 lakhs, which is a bit much more minimal than the regular market size. So for that, I think we should have a platform so that we can have some grant for our company and like that, sir.
So I it's a challenge. I mean, I'm not aware of it. I'm not sure if you will, but if you do, good. But you got to try. So do that. But
Okay.
also look at technologies that can help you compress and save it for much less cost.
Sure, sure. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Arun, you're the next one.
Hi, sir. My name is Arun Kumar. I'm the co-founder of a company called MedExpress. We are into health tech domain. Basically, sir, we started off in July 2020 as like normal pharmacy and NetMeds with an USP of delivering medicines within 6 hours in Cuttack and Bhubaneswar. However, we expanded our reach through social media. We got orders outside of Cuttack and Bhubaneswar, like in the radius of around 100-150 kilometers. So we were facing difficulty in fulfilling these orders with 6 hours. So we onboarded our retail partners there, and we after a couple of discussion and interaction, we figured out there is a complete gap between the B2B segment or the distribution of pharma sector also. So what we did is we started giving our own franchisee and onboarded those franchisee to start delivering those our medicines to the customers in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And in the other case, they also started placing their orders with us. Eventually, we started getting OPDs from these franchisees, as well as we converted certain surgeries at the hospitals also. So right now we have came up with a franchisee application where we are empowering these franchisees with technology where they can place the orders with us for their normal counter sales, as well as for OPD bookings, which can be done virtually with the hospital doctors or as well as independent doctors, and also search for the the cost analysis of all the diagnostic centers nearby, as well as the package rates of hospitals for any surgeries that is required. So we have done the GMV of around 45 lakhs right now, and operationally profitable currently. And we are looking for an expansion, and we have onboarded couple of board of advisors also. But the only confusion that I have, should I go for investment to the seed investors, or should we approach some Series A investors?
Have you raised money before?
No, sir, not yet.
So you will have to go to seed. I think in a sector that is so highly competitive.
So basically, sir, the other co-founder is also a doctor who is 30 years of experience in this industry, and is well equipped to take care of the initial stage.
Which is fine. So you still have to go for seed round, I think.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Who is the next one?
Bishwa, please go
Okay,
ahead.
Biswaranjan, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, sir. So, myself, Biswaranjan, the founder of Organoponics Private Limited. So, even though I founded the company just 2 months back, but I'm working on field, particularly with aqua farmers, since last 3 years with this product. Means my innovation is a product which can actually take care of or prevention of 14 different diseases, and also it will take care of eutrophication, it will take care of soil health, water health in aqua farms. Apart from that, I have another product which is particularly for the public ponds and for reservoirs, which are mostly controlled by the government. So we have many success stories also since last 3 years. From the independent farmers, who have used these products and validated it, and they are very much happy with this. And this year also we have started, selling the products also. So till today, means we are, whatever like the production and marketing, whatever it is all managed through bootstrapping. And in Odisha, particularly in Odisha, so we have our own calculations, like the market size currently in the coastal Odisha, it is somewhere between 500 to 600 CR. And there are not much competitors here in Odisha with respect to this type of product. And apart from that, even if there is some competitors in India, but their product is not for all these 14 different kinds of claims which we are doing. Rather, that is for 1 or 2. Like, they have to apply 5, 6 different products to get this particular whatever our product can do. And the food conversion ratio in a traditional way, it is somewhere.
So I understand. So what is the challenge? What is the challenge?
Yes, yeah. The thing is, like, we are struggling with 3 things now. One is the scale up. The other is like valuation of the company and to raise fund to scale up, particularly for a factory. And the third thing is like because even though actually we have focused on B2C and B2G, but B2B we are not yet done. But that is actually the biggest way to sell the products. So my question is 3 questions, like a market of 600 crore, and we are the much different than others. So how we can evaluate ourselves? That is one thing. As a investor perspective, okay, how can you evaluate our company? And the next thing is after that, okay, we will be going for raising some fund. What will be actually a smooth way to go for that? And
go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, and the third one is mostly how to explore this B2B.
How we what?
How to explore B2B market.
Okay. So what is your current revenue?
Because we started just okay, the current revenue will be somewhere between 10 to 15 lakh.
And why are you not able to scale that up?
Because we don't have a factory to manufacture this.
Why can't you get a bank loan?
Yes. So that actually we have approached, but before that, we should have actually an infrastructure. The bank they have told that mostly they will be paying for the instruments.
So why can't you rent a infrastructure or a factory?
That will be again, it will be too costly to go for that. Because actually I have
no. Why will it be costly? You don't have to be in the middle of Bhubaneswar. You can be 20-30 kilometers away from Bhubaneswar.
Now that I am doing in my native place in Puri.
Then why will it be expensive to rent a space?
No, space I have taken, the civil works in that. Initial civil works.
I'm sorry, what?
Initial civil works.
No, no, collateral is not needed for such a small amount of money for instruments. They will be hypothecated. He can do away with. See, why I'm saying this is for 10, 15 lakhs of monthly revenue, raising money and investments is not easy. And especially when you can't scale up and have your own factory and the bandwidth to see. For me, when I invest, want to see you 10x, 20x, whatever x. If you don't have that, I will not invest. So, ye jo initial money that's needed, whether for instruments, whether for the factory, whether for initial marketing, whether for outreach, that is something that you have to do from within your own resources or banking or government grants or whatever the case may be. Because if I don't see you having the potential, I can understand you're doing 1 crore and 2 crores and want to make a bigger factory. I can understand. But having no production facilities in place to go to 1 crore or 2 crores per month is a challenge. So you have to break this, cross that barrier before you reach out to people for funding, in my opinion.
Yeah, he has been shortlisted in BIRAC. Maybe it clicks or something else will get some, 20, 25 lakhs for the initial.
So these people do need some grant kind of a situation, and I do understand it's not easy to get money from banks. They have 100 different forms to fill and high interest rates and risk assessments. So I agree, a grant will help you.
Yeah. So we are looking for that. We'll get it.
Yeah. And for evaluation, how to means like market evaluation of our company, when the market size in Odisha.
So B2B market or so that's another question that you had. See, reaching out to the B2B market or reaching out to a larger market, you have to partner with people who are selling similar products to similar customers. So whether it's other agriculture products, whether it's other things that are not competing with you or are not threatened with you, you will have to work with those people and give them small percentage of profit. Because see, if you're unique, no one else is doing it, your profit margin has to be high. So you can obviously share some percentage and people would be happy to have some extra income. So you'll have to piggyback ride on what other people are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Multimeter Lab. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Preetham from Multimeter Lab, and we are trying to build a world where fun and learn go hand in hand. So basically, we are combining DIY robotics kits and have packaged it in a way such that it feels like fun. My question is, while DIY kits is nothing new, what separates us from the herd is the ability to make the whole solution way more fun and entertaining. But if we just take into consideration the robotics kit market, there are hundreds of startups already operating in this area. So how do we exactly figure out whom we consider as our competition and whom do we leave out from focus?
So, when basically it's a very crowded domain, as you rightly said, you have to understand that everyone is your competition because they will, if you start to create a market for your kind of products, they will create similar products and go to market and compete with you. And if they are established, if they have funding, they will not let you penetrate further. So it's a very, very tough question. I mean, actually, I'm invested in 2 startups that are doing similar stuff. It's a crowded domain. Relationship with colleges and universities within India and outside India take years to inculcate and to sustain. So, and they already have these relationships, and they are trying to grow from college to schools, and people who are doing it with schools are now wanting to enter in colleges. So it's all a big competitive world. I personally feel, my advice is, unless you have a very strong product expertise, unless you have a very strong R&D of producing robotic tools and models which others cannot or have not thought of, I would personally not try and go into this domain if you've not invested too much of your time into it.
Actually, invested 3 years, and the premium capture around 1,000 subscribers, out of which 1,200 are paying customers. So I'm currently trying to convert more of those 1,60,000 into paying customers.
And how successful have you been in converting them?
Like I said, only around 12 through marketing, digital marketing now.
So I agree with you. So the challenge is that. So I would not add more freemium customers. I would stick to trying to convert them to paid customers and then go and raise money because it's easy to convert them.
Right. So that is our current focus.
Please stay that. Do that for 6 months. See how many you can convert. What's your monthly revenue? How are you growing month on month? Create a model which can have projections for the years coming down, and then go for fundraising.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, sir.
Alicia, you can ask your questions now.
Hello, very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alicia from A to Z Medical, and
Alicia, you can ask your question.
Hello, I'm audible, sir.
Please be a bit louder.
I'm audible now.
Yeah, Alicia, go ahead. I can hear you, but go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, I'm from A to Z Medical, and we are a hyperlocal medicine delivery startup, and we are implementing drone for a medicine delivery. So we had a discussion with a few experts, and they asked us what we are doing, developing drone or medicine delivery, because we have an expert in our team who is providing drone in surveillance system to Kerala government, and also they are providing drone in agriculture also. So is it not good to develop drone and manage delivery through the drone by like our own network?
I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think India is ready for it. I don't think US is ready for it. It's drone deliveries, though in the works, are still pretty complicated right now. I think we will be at driverless cars first, and when 5G enabled services are penetrated across India, I think you are a little ahead of what is needed today, Alicia. I would strongly feel that it's might not be cost effective or easy to implement.
Okay.
Okay, the next one. High all dimensions. You can go ahead. Just high all
Good evening,
dimensions.
everyone.
Yeah, please go
I'm
ahead.
Santosh Kumar. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm Santosh Kumar Panda, founder of Heights Technologies Private Limited. Zomato, Swiggy, Fastfood, and many more platforms are dine-out food order platforms, where Heights provides both dine-in and dine-out order facilities. We do that with the help of AR technology. AR technology is a completely new technology called as augmented reality technology, and this is very immersive and interactive. By doing this, what exactly we do, the years-long dining physical menu will be goes digital, and the new now the customers can give order while dining by using this immersive and interactive gamification application. It's a kind of gamification way that they will provide orders. Same time, we are providing kitchen, talent, management, accounts management, and inventory management tools to the restaurant completely free. It's now a freemium model, but if the restaurants and hotels want any kind of personalization or individual customization, we are charging little amount there. And this is our first milestone, actually. This is our first milestone, and our initial research shows a good acceptability. But our second milestone is that once we will be live with this 100 restaurants with this dine-in platform, then we'll open up our dine-out platform so that we will easily get customers, and the restaurants can say no to us, can't say no to us, because we will be introduced as a part of their daily process by in the dining table, right? So I just want to ask Mahavir sir, Sir, put some lights that whether what we are doing is market fit or not.
So, dine in and getting customers to restaurants is not a bad thing to try to do. And I think there are some people who are trying to do that because, you know, it is workable. The basic problem is that restaurants, the industry is struggling. They don't have too much money to pay you to have this service. They can probably give you a percentage if you have a customer walk in because of your app or your outreach. But it's not an easily scalable model because cost of customer acquisition, a consumer sitting at home going to X or Y restaurant in his city will always not have your app, or he doesn't know that there is an app that exists. I've had startups who have come to me where they have a GPS enabled app where the further you are, normally what people say is that people go to restaurants and hotels that are next to their house. So if someone travels 15 kilometers to go to a restaurant, he will get 15% discount. So if he starts the app, enables it when he leaves his home, and he reaches and he shows that app that he's driven down 15 kilometers, that restaurant will give 15%, and so on and so forth. Many people are trying that. The challenge that they are facing is beyond a point, people start to cheat on the app, take discounts, multiple discounts are taken on the same table. Restaurants don't want to value too many, Zomato Golds or, Swiggy, whatever. And again, this additional nuisance, and there are people who are now sitting with their QR code on the table. If you want to order, you can order it through this. You get a discount the first time you download. So multiple things are happening in this domain. The challenge is retention. The challenge is who will stand out. The challenge is to scale up to be so big that others don't come when you are there. And because you're at very nascent stage, it is not an easy thing to scale up because it's a domain that's visible to everyone. Every restaurant, food place wants people to walk in. It's something that people need to solve. How will that solve? How will loyalties work? How will discounts work? How will your marketing on social media work? How cost effective will be? Whether the customer will retain? All these are very, very difficult questions to answer, and you probably need a lot of money. And at this stage, raising huge amounts of money is not easy.
Right, sir. Right. But we are solving a big problem of the restaurant by providing the air application.
Many people are trying to do that. Many people are trying to do that. It is a problem that needs to be solved. But the question is who solves it first, and who has the money to reach out to millions of restaurants across India. Who because once you are pan India, that's when. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, please. Yes, sir.
You were saying something.
I'm not saying that anyone in the dining technology. One is using that AR technology. And that is really a gamification.
See, gamification, all those are value-added services that people normally don't give much value to. And restaurant is a business where it's not just youngsters, it's 35, 40-year-olds, 45-year-olds, 50-plus-year-olds, because when things become normal, and the restaurant changes. A youngster will go to a different joint, I will go to a different joint, you'll go to a different place. But the F&B industry and the going out and dining industry does not change. So gamification is not just one solution that you should have or can have.
Okay, all right. So what other things that we should focus if you want to scale up this one?
I mean, I'm just saying that you can focus on anything unless you have a roadmap as to how you will acquire restaurants and how they will make more money with you, and how you will tell consumers that you exist and you can save them money from restaurants. Convincing the consumer and the restaurant and retaining them and you making money in the bargain is, if you solve this puzzle, then everything becomes easy.
All right, sir. Right now, actually, we convincing the restaurant is easy because by using this one, they are saving a lot of money and they are, the COVID-19 guidelines are followed. There is no physical menu in the dining table. So whenever you have entered into the premise, you will not touch any physical menu, right? Your mobile will
I know. So there are at
So,
least 100 companies who are doing that.
okay. Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. My voice is audible.
Yeah, it is audible.
Right, sir. Sir, I have not seen anyone that they are doing by using the augmented reality. That's the reason I'm saying it. Everyone is providing the desktop application and other things.
I know, but how does AR?
Indonesia
How
and
does
Mumbai,
AR? How?
I have not seen
Hang on,
anyone
pause,
that
pause,
they are
pause.
using this
How
augmented
does
reality or
AR?
any kind of.
How does AR help when I'm sitting in a restaurant?
Exactly, sir. So when you sit in the table, right? So we initially get that menu card. So right now there will be no menu card. There will be one barcode. Okay, you just open the mobile and no need to download any application. Our application is completely web-based application, web-based application. You just scan that one and you will get the menu on the augmented reality. That means in the virtual world, just behind your mobile. Right?
Array, but
So
whether
when you see this, you will
pause,
feel,
pause, pause,
the
pause,
food items are just
pause.
Please listen. Yeah.
Pause. If whether the menu comes on in an augmented reality and I can flip pages in the virtual world, or I scroll up the menu and tick on what I need, how does that change my experience in the restaurant when it comes to ordering food? Now, if you are an AR company and you are creating an AR environment, then why restaurant? You can be doing that in at a sari shop, at a salon shop. You can just have a QR code sitting in the sari and say, once you put this QR code up, lagao, camera apni taraf face karo, wo sari aap pe, AR is a totally different dimension. Why restaurants? You can do AR everywhere. How will the sofa look in your room? How will the curtain, which is yellow, become red? AR is AR. You are trying to mix. Why are you bringing? How does looking at the menu in AR help my eating experience or my ordering experience? And 90% of the times, people don't use these QR codes these days. They know what they want to eat, or the person who comes to take an order tells them what is available. So my only thing is that are you an AR company, or are you solving a problem for the restaurant industry? Your expertise is in AR. Give
no, sir,
AR
not
to
exactly. We are a AR
yeah.
company. We are working.
What?
We are a AR and VR development company. We are working with education industry and also from mechanical industries also. So this is our one product that we want to launch.
So sir, you don't go fundraising for one product in a company that's creating 10 different products. You take money for what your core strength is. You are an AR VR company. You create that for architects. You create that for engineers. You create that for schools. You create that for colleges. You create that for restaurants. You create that for salons, for sari shop, for juta shop, for every shop. Focus on that. Why are you worried about just the restaurant, which is already a crowded domain, and I don't need an AR menu. Tomorrow you will tell me, you will show me the sandwich, what the sandwich looks like. Can I cancel my order by looking at it? And because so my point is, continue to stay or what your core strength is.
Right. Thanks for your suggestion, sir. Thanks for your suggestion. Is there anyone else? So it's always sir good to listen you at any event. I was the part of the Startup Uttarakhand team when when you help in forming of the Thai chapter in Dehradun. So I'm the Siddharth Sukla is my colleague. So now it's good to see you here as well. and it was a valuable suggestion for everyone, every startups who have attended today's event. And I am sure that your valuable insights to them will definitely help them out to ensure their growth. So once again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and give us time, your valuable time to guide the startups of Foodisas in a well manner.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I hopefully will be in Bhubaneswar soon in the next 2-3 months, and
Sure.
wish to see all of you. Thank you,
Sure.
everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.